Hello friends. So this video has been long overdue. I've been meaning to do it for the past 2 weeks, but we're doing it now because this month has been hectic. So if you weren't aware, I do a little challenge called 28 Days of Historical Dress. Every day in the month of February, I dress up in vintage or historical clothing. Now, in the years past, I really did a deep dive into wearing 18th century, 19th century, Victorian and all of that. This year, I pretty much stuck with doing mid-century modern, and I am loving it, especially wearing pants. Now, admittedly, when I started doing historical fashion, especially vintage fashion, I only went for the dresses because that's pretty much what's portrayed, through TV and media and whatnot. But I do love a good pants outfit were it. So let's get into a little bit history of it, okay? So basically, we all know that if you're a woman, wearing pants back then was considered scandalous. But in the 1920s, obviously we went away from the corsets and the big Victorian era bustles, and we went with, shorter hemlines, um, straight kind of fabrics that kind of just hung off you instead of trying to accentuate a body shape. And so in the 1920s, it really came out with wide leg trousers and knickers, like the little pants that kind of stop right below the knee, that were pretty much similar to men's pants during that time. Fisher's Murder Mysteries. There we go. Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. Um, Especially during there was a lot of pantsuits that were worn, lounging around the house. So the wide, loose leg bottoms were very popular. Again, you would have your shirt tucked in, or a sweater, or a nice little camisole, again, with the feather dusters. Well, not the feather dusters, but the duster jackets. And Miss Fisher always had her style because it was classic. It was a duster or a jacket, her blouse, her trouser pants, her cloche hat, and a scarf. And I absolutely loved her. So, for women wearing pants, that definitely did transition from the 1920s and 1930s, definitely into the 1940s because we had World War II, and a lot of women went to work in the factories and in male dominated industries. And a lot of those places, you could not wear the dresses and the outfits in general that you wore. So pants became a really big thing, including wearing dungarees, which were considered work pants and things like that. So now, we kind of round into the 1950s, and you get basically three types of pant styles that were common. You get the cigarette pants, which were the high waisted ones with side or back zippers, kind of flat across the front and the hips, and they had a wide waistband. They were kind of slim, they were tapered to be slim, and they slim down towards the ankles. Not necessarily a capri pant, which I'm going to get into next. With the capri pant, they did fit like cigarette pants, but with cigarette pants, they went all the way down to your ankle or to the floor. With the capri pants, they stopped above that. They could stop anywhere from mid calf to just below your knee. And those were pretty much tapered all the way through. There was no looseness in those types of pants, and I do love it. It's such a cute style, and you typically wore them with loafers, flat shoes. If you were considered, a vamp or a pinup girl, you wore your heels with them also. I haven't really worn heels in forever because your girl's old, but yeah, that's another look. And then we get the pedal pushers, which are typically confused with capri pants, but basically they're a mix of the regular trousers and then the capri pants. So they kind of fall right below the knee, and they could go to mid calf. They have the flat front as before. The waistband a little bit smaller. They typically have a crease in the front, but these were kind of more casual lounging, especially if you were traveling or if you had a family and you guys went fishing or camping, because 1950s camping and fishing is a totally different experience. It's a whole thing that they used to do. Is that people were like, oh my God, they're wearing pants. They're going against the whole, femininity thing, and they're not mothers. But thanks to a couple of Hollywood stars like Lucille Ball and Mary Tyler Moore, who they literally wore pants during the episodes. And also, fun fact, Lucille Ball was one of the first shows, I Love Lucy, to show a married couple sleeping in the same bed. Because before then, it was, oh, we knew how babies were made. We just could not show that the couple loved each other. And with Mary Tyler Moore on the Dick Van Dyke Show, she typically wore capri pants and pedal pushers when she was at home. But when it became like they had to go somewhere formal or somewhere business, then it reverted back to the dresses.